maybe we should go sit by the beach, right? Yeah? All right. How you kids doing this evening? Hi kids doing this evening? Check out that great wall of graffiti. The fuck is that shit? What drugs are you on, kid? What drugs are you on? It's a place you can be free. Soy libre, no lo estoy. Pero siempre. Ay, no. Tengo mis compras y estoy cansado perché ieri anoche non dormí bene. Fui in la internet para 7 horas o 6 o 5, no lo so, no sé. Ma guarda la gente sulla spiaggia, sulla playa, e la luce del sol de la tarde, la tarde de la día. No hablo español, lo siento. Yeah, that's how I speak Spanish. Although I don't usually feel that comfortable when I actually have to communicate with someone. When I'm just babbling like a parrot, it's much easier. Oy. I don't have my tripod with me, so I'm just gonna have to prop my phone up on a rock somewhere. Have a conversation with the kids back home. Hey kids, what you doing? So, I didn't sleep very much last night. This is may sound like some weird tangent, but a friend had recommended I watch a TV show, BBC America, called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency. And a few years ago, I read Douglas Adams' books growing up, all of them that I could get my hands on. And they made a huge impression on me. And it's weird because they're very silly. But they're, he has these very silly plots and he puts some really interesting philosophical concepts in them. That when I read them again as an adult, which was probably in the midst of terrible depression in New York City, like in the, 8 years ago or something, I read all of them and then I listened to audiobooks of them read by Stephen Fry and Martin Freeman. And then I found other audiobooks read by Douglas Adams. So I listened to all of those. So I read the stories, listened to them, and then listened to them again. So it was a bit obsessive. And this TV show has very little to do with the books. Very, 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 very little to do with the books. So that was weird. To be like, what the fuck is this shit? So I watched 3 episodes yesterday and then decided to go to sleep. But then I was like, well, before I go to sleep, because it was already kind of late, but I ate way too much chocolate yesterday. I was like, I'm going to do a little research about this. And these TV shows were adapted from the concepts, the characters, the ideas of the book, not the story, not the plot of the book. The books. By a guy named Max Landis, son of John Landis, who did some famous movies that were stupid and funny. from the 80s. Man, heavy papayas, shopping bags. Getting up on these rocks. Oh, there we go. Anyway, there was some reference to Max Landis being involved in some kind of sex scandal about how like 8 women had come forward and declared that he had abused them. And it wasn't a Me Too thing. It was like last year. So I guess Me Too is forever now. I mean, but there was a year that Me Too exploded. But now Me Too is always happening. Women can always say, like, actually this guy with money and power and clout and shitloads of friends in the industry is a fucking dick and fucked me over. And even if he tries to silence me, you should listen because I'm not lying, even though I'm a woman. Even though I'm a woman, you should listen to me. I mean, I know I'm a woman, so you probably shouldn't, but I'm telling you. Anyway, that's what Me Too's about, right? And I was curious in the way I get about things, so I went to read a story. But when I started reading the story, I didn't realize that it was like, I don't know, like 20 years of his life. It was an incredibly long article. I was just like, holy shit, how long does this keep going? And I just kept reading and just kept reading and just kept reading. And the guy, I mean, he came from money and power, and that his dad was a Hollywood person, not like a Star Wars person, or I don't know, he was just a Hollywood guy. I think it wasn't Caddyshack, or it was like, not Revenge of the Nerds, but like one of those college movies, one of those dumb college movies, and a couple other movies. John Landis, I forget the movies he did. They weren't anything that I loved or anything. But Max Landis did Chronicle, which was kind of a crappy movie, but had some cool concepts and used a Starfucker song, so I liked that a lot. I did see Chronicle, and he did Bright, which I've never seen, but has terrible, terrible critical response. It's like 24 or something on the Metacritic, but it's the most streamed original Netflix production of anything they've ever made, starring Will Smith. And he has this obsession with the fantasy worlds, which I love. I love fantasy worlds. I love the obsessions of the fantasy world. So I was like, I like Dirk Gently. The first 3 episodes that I watched last night, you know, significantly interested me and hooked me, and I was like, this is very complex, it's very strange. And I read this incredibly long story about all the girls that he manipulated psychologically. He gaslit them, controlled them, abused them terribly, raped them repeatedly, roofied them, like horrible shit. Over and over and over, like starting when he was in college, at least, up until now. He's like my age, so like 20 years of this shit. And then I watched the rest of I didn't sleep very much last night, so I've had like a melted vegetable day. And I watched the rest of the first season today, and it was really interesting, and this is the reason I'm telling this story. It was really interesting to see how writers work. Like, the first 3 episodes, I was like, okay, so this is this story. It's based on this character that I know from these books that I've read and listened to, and this author that I love. But this is not what I know, but it was interesting. But then when I watched the next 5 episodes today, I could see the struggling of the human writer. I could see the writer with all of his self-loathing, his desire to be a better person, but unable to get out of the cage of his control, of the control that he had manifested as a manipulator because of the money and power that he wielded. And it was really fascinating to see these characters acting out the suffering of this human. This TV show was written, I don't know, 3 or 4 years before this expose came out of his abuses. But it was all very, very clearly laid out. Like the driving thrust of a lot of the characters' motivations was lying, manipulation, hating themselves, hating each other, just being total assholes, and desperately wanting to be better people. And that's what these abuse scandal, all of the girls that he was terrible to and abused, they all told the story of it was so hard to leave him because he was so rich and powerful and charismatic, and he was such a fucking crazy control freak. But he was also I'm trying to get better. I'm really, really trying to get better. Please help me. Please help me. He was doing that constantly. So there was this honest feeling, they had this feeling that he was being honest. And one of the things the article talked about is just the difficulty we have that when we are horrible people and we walk up to somebody, I don't know if any of you have ever had this experience, you walk up to somebody and you're like, hey guys, red flag, I'm a horrible person. I'm a manipulator. I'm a liar. I'm really abusive, I'm exploitive, so I'm just telling you that up front so you can't say I didn't warn you. If you've ever met anybody like that, or if you've ever been anybody like that. And so it was really interesting to watch the rest of the show and enjoy the fantasy aspects of it, but all of a sudden all I was seeing was the psychology of the writer. And the human struggle to try to get free of that kind of suffering, wanting to be loved and wanting to love, but also wanting to abuse somebody and make them cry and control them and belittle them and destroy them. His actual life story is he created this, what did he call it? The Color Society, where he would spend $60,000 for a party and invite 50 of his closest friends and then pit them all against each other. And kick certain ones out and trash talk about them and then bring them back in to watch people try to be uncomfortable around each other. It was just really sick, psychological, fucked up shit. And he's got a huge career in Hollywood, this guy. He's really tall, he's 6'4", and there's a couple other movies that he's written that I've wanted to see for years that I didn't know he was the writer. Not everybody gets obsessed with writers. It's very rare that there are writers in Hollywood that people get obsessed about the writers. And Charlie Kaufman is one I can think of. That Charlie Kaufman had a period where everything he wrote, I was I want to see that. And I read articles where people would mention that people wanted to see movies because he was the writer. It was a very specific mindset you could go into. And he also wrote things inspired by his own neurosis, psychosis, different type of abusive mentality though. And of course, the thing that's interesting about people articulating their abusive psychology, their abusive neurotic mind, heart patterns, is that we all have that. It's everybody's a little bit of a racist one way or another. Everybody has prejudices. I was telling these people at the cafe that we go to sometime in the morning about how there were two characters that I saw interacting with a whole lot of shade. And I just noticed my mind put them in boxes immediately. I'm black kid from New York, wearing lots of colors, being really loud all the time. I got your story. Israeli kid, lives in Brooklyn, hell-bent on getting respect, recognition, lots of money, and controlling conversations. I'm yeah, I got your story. I know you. I've met tons of people like you. And when I was telling the kids at the table about how I boxed both of these guys I hadn't really interacted with them very much, and I just boxed them. They're but that's prejudice. And I was yeah, the cool thing about prejudice is if you know you're doing it, then you can at least notice that you're doing it and give yourself time to step back and be what else is there to the story besides the box I've just put this person in? But if you don't notice you're doing it, you just think it's real, you just think it's true, you don't notice it as a function of the mind, as an automatic background program. But there's always the option that there are perhaps people who really have no prejudice. There are perhaps people who really just aren't judgmental at all. My excuse is that I have a Virgo rising. Somebody's you should make a t-shirt of that. And my excuse is that I have a Virgo rising. So I'm just naturally judging everything all the time. Though I know how to ignore it, it's not a healthy thing for my mind to ignore it all the time. I have set up experiments in my life where I've been I'm going to ignore all of my judgments because they're all garbage. And actually, discernment's really great, and judgments are useful. but hate and greed and confusion are not so great, not so fun. So it's kind of interesting if you can be judgmental without being hateful, if you can be judgmental and be forgiving and patient and all that stuff. I don't know, being a human is tricky. I don't think that I can portray this super well with the camera. I tried to take a picture of my arm earlier today, but like it's hot as fuck and I sweat all day. It's fine, right? I lay in the hammock to like relax. Also because it's hot as fuck and the lethargy of hot as fuck and humid just makes it like I can't do anything besides lay around. But I'm breaking out in a heat rash like everywhere. And this isn't itchy like the weird rash I had a couple weeks ago. This is just like raised red skin spots everywhere. It's like prickly heat, which I started to get at the end of my time in Southeast Asia last year. And it's just a normal gringo thing. I don't know, white people, they have trouble with this for whatever the fuck reason. But I want to bring that up. I kept thinking about this earlier today. I was like, when I do my video today, I have to start it with the reasons I'm leaving, because I keep constantly being like, wherever the fuck I go in the United States, I'm not going to be able to hang out with people like regular humans because we're not in this safe like bubble that's been protected for months with roadblocks. Like, this is a very different story than what's happening in the United States. Like, all of the towns along this coast have been roadblocked. Nobody could come in except the people who are already living here. So it didn't stop COVID from getting here because it was here already, but it just kept new waves from coming. So like things got to be pretty chill. And so we haven't been social distancing. We've been hanging out. Although today I was walking on the main road and I went through the roadblock and they're like, you need to wear a mask. And I was like, I know, I don't have one. And they're like, oh, well, we have some that we made here. And I've been talking to the kids that talk to the locals more than I do. And I said, do you guys know anybody who's making masks? And they're like, no, why would we know somebody who's making masks? I'm like, because I see all these people with homemade masks. So I bought a little homemade mask today for $1. It's kind of cute. It's probably pretty useless, but at least it's like the amulet of the mask. You know, I think a lot of these masks are kind of useless, except they do prevent the spread, but they don't really keep you from getting it. If you have it, it kind of diminishes your ability to stick it out to the world. But it doesn't really keep you from getting it super well. But it's kind of small for my face, so it's mostly useless, but it's an amulet. It's a magical protection device. I can wear the mask. Everybody will be like, you're doing such a good job, Dominic. We're very proud of you. Symbol of care. Anyway, so I checked that off my list. I'm going to walk back to Mazunte tomorrow and get a massage and buy some more of that salve from my good friend Jorge Cla and maybe other friends. There's salve that I bought made by a traditional like Native American Mexican shaman dude. He doesn't use any animal fat in it, or sorry, he doesn't use any plant fat. Like every salve I've ever made, every salve I've ever used has been made with plant fat, meaning like olive oil, coconut oil, beeswax, stuff like that. This salve that he makes is rattlesnake oil, possum oil, and raccoon oil, fat, like fat from animals. And then arnica, calendula, marijuana, peyote, you know, for muscle pains. Not something I'm going to take internally. Yeah. Safe. Stay safe. Cuidate. I want you to feel safe. Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah, there's so many things that we can continue to do to help each other and support each other. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We're doing our best to help each other, whatever capacities we can. And this is one of the powers that I have, the gift of the gab, I guess. Yeah, it's real snake oil. Isn't that awesome? It might be psychedelic. I don't know with peyote. I mean, I haven't put it on my body yet. I really should to see what it does before I give it to my mom. I'm going to buy some for my mom and Jorge Clark. Maybe Tony Alcino. We'll see. If he's a good boy. But I'm going to get a massage tomorrow too. $20. It's mind-blowing to me, being totally spoiled by the American massage market. Get a massage for $20. Oh, how about a massage for $10? Yeah, that's better. A massage for $10. And also with you, blessed art thou among Nicks, Felipas, and blessed is the fruit of your Fruits. Peace be with you and also with you. Yeah. I don't think it's a flying ointment, Shimmer. I think he has it marked. It's by a shaman. It's meant for like arthritis. Yeah. Yeah, well, my parents are going to be the lucky one living with a massage therapist. I'm not going to be the lucky one living with a massage therapist, although my mom is a massage therapist, so I might be able to convince her to massage me. But my parents are going to get massages from me. When I was staying with them last year, I massaged them regularly. I mean, at least once a month, but sometimes just for 20 minutes here and there and here and there and here and there, which is nice too. But yeah, like the ability to walk into town and buy food is nice. And having like fresh papayas every day is nice. Although I've recognized in this weird heat rash situation that if I eat bananas, avocados, or pineapple, it makes me break out in itchy hives as opposed to just heat rash hives. So whatever internal heat thing is going on, sad, lo siento, que pena. I have like 50% fire in my Taoist astrology, and there's all this water here, and we're in the year of the rat, and none of that is cooling me off. I do water rituals every morning, still overheating. Sad. Yeah, my mom and I have massage traded many times over the years, but she's got a rheumatoid arthritis now, and she's 70, so she doesn't do massage very often, but we'll see. Again, that's the other thing. Like, I'm going back to visit my parents and stay with them for a few months. I hope I don't kill my parents. Hope I don't kill my parents. You know, that's part of the real deal. I think I've had the COVID-19, yo. I think I've had it. So, hopefully I won't be bringing it to them as well. But I might be bringing more virulent strains and mutations that I pick up on the streets of New York. I was telling a guy on the street here, I'm like, yeah, so I'm going to go back to New York for a couple days and ride my bike around, you know, the ghost town megalopolis and probably cry a lot. And then I'm going to get the fuck out of town and go to Indiana. We'll see. Look, there's the sea arch. There's the hurricane house. There are the waves. There are the waves. My family's left. The dogs have left. There's an empty beach. And for those of you who are afraid of cliffs, this is Dominic sitting on the cliff again. Dominic sitting on the cliff again. Don't be afraid. I'm not gonna fall off while I'm talking to you. If I do, it's your fault. Just kidding. Yeah, happy to share. So yeah, I talked about my skin breaking out. I talked about loving being naked on the beach and doing qigong in the morning. I haven't talked about how my parents have they live on 9 acres of land in Indiana, and I'm going to designate some of it naked. I'm gonna be like, this is naked. If you come back here, you can expect to find me naked. I'm also gonna try to convince them to do qigong with me every morning. We'll see. But I also plan to do a lot of gardening projects, which I've never done very much because I'm a traveler. You can't really be a good gardener when you're a traveler. Not good for a farmer to travel all the time. As long as you're seasonally staying put somewhere, you can be a farmer. So I'm going to try to grow some root vegetables and some rabbits and chickens to eat. That's all you need is root vegetables, some greens, kale, brassicas. Keep imagining was saying something calm and profound, but like rhythmic and composed, like a really good poem. And I don't know what that really good poem should be, but I want to read something that sounds really wise and really measured and really grounded. That it will be fun and calming to read with its steadiness, and will make people like sit back and just listen to my voice and the waves and be like, yes, yes, that's true. Oh yes, yes, I've never heard it said like that before, but I recognize immediately the truth and the usefulness of that perception. But I don't know what that poem is. I had a dream once that all people could It's very calming. Tonight at the cinema here, she's showing the movie Arizona Dream, which I may have mentioned to her how much I loved it a few weeks ago when we talked about a bunch of movies. But I know I mentioned to my friend Tony recently that he should watch it. And if you guys have never seen Arizona Dream, it's by a man named Emir Kusturica, the director. I don't know if he wrote it, but I know it was a joint venture between him and some French company or producer. But I believe it was filmed in America. It's set in Arizona. The beginning of it's set in New York City, and some of it is set in like Greenland or the Arctic Circle somewhere, as Eskimos in it. But the main actors are Johnny Depp, Faye Dunaway, Jerry Lewis, Lily Taylor, and Vincent Gallo. It's a great cast. Emir Kusturica was presented to me when I was in Serbia as being like a Balkan exploitation artist. So if you think of black exploitation films and then apply that to like the Balkan culture, that's what he's famous for. But Arizona Dream is not like that because it's an American story, or at least a European version of an American story. And it's very weird. So if you've never seen Arizona Dream, I highly recommend you look it up. And even though I've watched a lot of Scream today, I think I'm going to go watch that at the cinema after the sun sets. I would love to say, I'm going to go float in the ocean for a while first, but it's not a float in the ocean kind of ocean. It's a fight to stay alive, bobbing around kind of ocean. Oh, ocean. Oh, land of excess. Excess heat, excess wind, excess water. Water, excess yang. This is excess yang water. Water is like the yinest of yins, and yet this is an excess yang water. The sun is so extreme and intense, it's an excess yang fire. Not like a forest fire. Got a lot of excess yang fire going on. Not a great deal of wood support here because it's very dry. Oh, iguana! I've been wanting to put one of these dudes in my live broadcasts. Oh, there he is! I love him so much. Hola, iguana! He's like, I want to come and sit on the rock. What are you doing in my spot, dude? Look at that iguana. Do you love iguanas? I love lizards. I'd never had a black iguana in my life before. Oh, you know what he's coming down for? He's gonna try to fucking eat my papayas. That's what he's doing. He can smell my papayas. These iguanas love papayas so much. Whenever I cut them, I peel the skin off and then I cut the skin up into little slices and I put it out for the iguanas to eat. And they love, love, love the iguanas. That's why he's standing there, because he's like, dude, I'm gonna kill you so I can eat your papayas. But he's not gonna kill me because I'm bigger than him. Aren't I bigger than you? And the sun is setting and you're gonna run out of energy soon because you're a cold-blooded lizard monster. cold-blooded lizard monsters, they can't function when the sun's down because they run out of energy because they live off of the sun and papayas apparently. Wow, he's so cool though. La 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 la. Focus, stupid camera. Anyway, that's what he looks like on the rock. I really have wanted to include an iguana in my, see, there's my bags there with my papayas in them. See, he smelled my papayas. He's like, I'm gonna get in your bag. I'm gonna eat your papayas. As you imagine, I'm going to stop him. I'm not going to let him eat my papayas. But I'm not gonna try to eat him either. Because I love you, iguana, but you can't eat my papaya. If you were in my neighborhood, you know, maybe tomorrow I'll bring you some of my papaya. No, no. Say. He ran away. But he was going for it. That motherfucker was like, I'm gonna get in your bag and eat your papayas. I say no. He lives up there somewhere in the trees. Trees on the rock. Look at all the kids. Look at all the kids on the beach, everybody. Life is just happening here. Wherever your life is, whatever version of reality you're living in, this is another version of reality that's happening. It's someone's normal life right here. I don't know if it's my normal life. I don't really know if I have a normal life. Normal life is fiction to me. I think normal life is probably a fiction to everybody, really, but a lot of people believe in fiction, and this is their fiction, their reality. Their kids playing racquetball or tennis or whatever the fuck you call that. And this seawall, see this crazy... I was walking in the dark one night and I, of course, kind of fell off of it. I didn't hurt myself, it was sand. Fortunately, I didn't fall on the rocks, but damn. Look at this pretty place. It's very pretty. If it could be like 5 in the morning every day, I'd have no problem. And probably if I were staying in the middle of the beach right here where there's wind all the time, I probably wouldn't have so much of a problem either. It's just up where I'm staying, there's no wind. So it just is really like a sweltering hot. Oh, hi, Jorge Clar. How do you do? Jorge Clar, tell me about your day. Jorge Clar, please come on the camera. Yeah, one of the things that I'd like to do is to figure out how to do live stream things like this that I'm interviewing people. And like I would love to just have live stream conversations with Jorge Clar for everybody to watch. Because Jorge Clar is fun to talk with and kind of just fun. He's a fun being. So I thought it'd be fun to just hang out with Jorge Clar and live stream it like an interview type thing. Bird! But I haven't figured out how to do that yet. A zoomy live stream. I'm sure there's some way. I'll figure it out. What is your persistent stream key? Persistent stream key. Persistent stream key. Hey Jorge, are we gonna hang out soon? I'll lick your eyeballs if you'd like. With my airplane breath. Or I'll try not to. Oh, he came back. He really, really wants some papaya. He's like, please, just let me eat your... See, he's licking his lips, or his scaly version of them. I don't know what they think. It's a real total mystery to me of like, what's going on in the iguana's mind. He's running away. Yeah. Because he knows that I could eat him. I'm bigger than he is. And I talk more. All right, you've seen enough, kids. Haven't you seen enough? You guys want me to tell you a story about anything? Or shall I just let you go to sleep? Oh. Where are you, iguana? I don't know where the iguana's hiding. Living, whatever you want to call it. There he is. Oh, look at the iguana. His cute little claws. His dinosaur eyes. All right, enough of this silliness. Love y'all. Sorry I didn't have any like great stories to talk about. Just thinking about humans, and even if they're abusive and crazy, they're suffering and worthy of compassion, interest, creativity. Tell us an iguana story, Dominic. I bought an iguana, a green one, when I was 14 maybe. I had a snake for a couple of years before I got the iguana, and snakes like to sit on my shoulder. It was a little black rat snake. It wasn't like a big sexy boa or python. But the rat snake liked to sit on my shoulders and wrap around my throat and squeeze a little bit too much. So I was kind of hoping the iguana would like to do that as well, but the iguana was not nearly as friendly. The iguana, he'd let me touch him, he'd let me pet him, but he didn't really like it. I don't remember what I called the iguana. I called the snake Sam. So, I thought the snake had to be named something that began with an S. Sam Snake. And Sam is a nice androgynous name. I wasn't sure if it was female or male. But I later found out it was female, I believe. The iguana, after owning it for a year or so, I just felt so guilty about keeping it in a cage all the time that I always left the cage open. I'm not a good pet keeper because, as you know, I have modeled my life in like, how can I be free? Wait, no, how can I be more free? Wait, how can I be free? So the idea of whenever I've had pets, I just feel like I'm a jailer and it's horrible. So I would always leave the cage open. And the iguana really liked the heated rock and really liked the UV light, so would often kind of stay in his terrarium. But it was fun to see him sometimes just like climb up onto my bed and just kind of sit there, poop on everything. The snake, when I started leaving her aquarium open, she'd just be gone for months. I wouldn't see her. And then I'd be like laying on the floor listening to music and she'd slide up alongside me. Some people said, oh yeah, maybe she was measuring you out to see if she could eat you. And I was like, yeah, I don't think black rat snakes do that. But super pythons do. But I love the iguanas. I told a little iguana story yesterday, I think, or 2 days ago, that I wonder if they're making subsonic sounds that I can't hear, because they often will do this. They just stand there with their mouth open. And I wonder if they're making some sound I can't hear. And then another thing they do, which I see them doing it to each other on the rocks, and they do it to me sometimes when I interact with them, is they'll erect their neck and then go. And I imagine that they're like making some kind of thrusting sound that I can't hear. I wish I could feed you. He's waiting. He's just waiting for me to step away from the papaya so he can eat them. I could be wrong. I have 2 cookies in there. He might just want the cookies. But these iguanas have been great friends for me. I eat papayas most mornings here, and I cut them up into small bite-sized chunks for the iguanas to eat, and I scatter them around. And sometimes while I'm eating, they'll come up into my room and just like stare at me. I've sometimes fed them out of my hands, but I don't think they see very well, so they kind of bite my fingers, and they don't have teeth, so it's not like it hurts, but it's just scary to have like iguana. And they're black. I've never been around black iguanas. And they've got really muscular legs, and I was told the Mexicans kill them if they get a chance because they like to eat them. But the Mexicans will eat anything, apparently. They'll eat everything here. Like, there's over 400 something insects they eat, so I imagine, yeah, anything they can eat, they would just eat. But I haven't eaten an iguana yet. I probably wouldn't. I like iguanas a lot. I like lizards a lot. I love being here and seeing all the lizards. very nice. I don't know, there's a lot I like about being here. But no matter where you go, there you are. And I'm a traveler, so gotta be moving on. Let me know if you want me to come visit you. It'd be great. A whole bunch of things will happen and then I'll leave. Happy birthday. For you Tauruses who want to keep things. Have any of you ever met a Taurus? They want to keep things, and they can't keep anything. Nobody can keep anything. Everything passes away. Let's walk down the cliffs. Look, these are the stairs. I'm gonna walk down these stairs. Don't be frightened, Iguana, I love you. Oh. Mexicans look at me like, who the fuck is that crazy guy? Hi, Mexican girls. It's not really about them being Mexicans, it's just about them being people. Hi, people. Estoy cansado y un poco slap happy. That was profile. Good night, guys. I'm ambling back to my house. Look at the beach, guys. Dead pufferfish on the beach. Oh, do you guys want to see the dead pufferfish? Sure, why not? There's a lot of dead pufferfish on the beach. Look at this monster. Oh, he smells so stinky. He's been here all day. Been here all day, stinky pufferfish. I played with him a little this morning. He was dead then too. Sometimes our friends are dead. He's a little shocked about being dead. He's like, oh, it so sucks to be dead. Stinky fish magic. You could come here and be on this beach with a yellow foam in the sea, where the little grackles hop in the sand and the surfer boy does his exercises on the platform. You could come here and relax and everything could be perfect until your skin breaks out in heat rash. Well, not exactly perfect, because nothing is. And isn't that just fine? Love you, dear. Tired and slap happy. I don't know if I've ever shown this. This is the Shambhala entrance from down on the beach. Because everything's been shut down, they're not cleaning it. But this is the walk up to my room. Maybe I have shown this. Maybe I just showed this recently. Best view. Cracks in the road. Oh, she swept the leaves today. Or maybe this is the roadblock. A lot of stairs. Oh. The ants. Hi, ants. Oh, so many ants. So many ants. So many ants. This is where I've been hanging out the last few days. This purple hammock. Stay in the shade. Oh, you did see it once already. Okay, all right, Clark. You're good. Chronicler. This is my hammock that I was staying in the middle of the days, but now this is my sleep hammock. I put up the mosquito net, and I lay there at night when it's hot as fuck and can hardly function, and I stay there for a while. This is my door. So I'm gonna have to stop filming, and that's enough. I love you. There's the view. There's the view. Hi, view. I love you, view. Thank you, view. Thank you, viewers. Have a lovely evening. I will speak with you later, I hope. May you all be well and be happy and be at peace.